Okay, guys. Good morning, good welcome. My name is Dane van This is Pounds for Breakfast on this beautiful start of the week, Monday, 21st of November. Now, guys, we have a brilliant week planned up. Lots of exciting developments, as I spoke about last week. And as you stay tuned during the show, I'm going to drop some of these cues in terms of what is happening. We're going to see releases, new products, new features from here, right here, Globex 360. Coming out over the course of the week. You're going to get a little bit of a preview today as to some of the amazing things that we've been working on, some of the items that are coming to fruition that every single one of you are going to be able to benefit from. So just a quick shout out to every single person that is in our community. I see a ton of people. You guys are absolutely amazing, bright and early on this Monday. I can see Colin Alvermo, I see John Lana, Martinez, Rishmi, Zane, Godwin, Darlene, Ruan. I can see Malcolm, Fabian, Tavo, Tumelo in the house, Aiden, Shamim, as well as Edwin, Nadir, Sabiso, Tabi, and Sanveer. Beautiful, guys. Welcome to Pounds for Breakfast. We have a pretty different week this week, right? In most cases, and as you guys saw last week, we had a ton of fundamentals that we were dealing with and looking at, where this week we have a little bit more of a calmer week from a fundamental perspective. But I do believe price action is going to be on another level this week. So we're going to look at how do we capitalize on the markets from a pure price action perspective. What's cooking, what's happening. Wednesday being the biggest day from a fundamental perspective. And as well as you guys saw the title that I put into Telegram this morning, if you currently have a car, home, credit card, whatever the case may be here in Southern Africa, you can be expecting to pay a little bit more from an interest rate perspective, right? That interest rate decision also coming out on Wednesday. So Wednesday being massive from a fundamental data perspective. Now, again, if you're watching for the very first time, if you're brand new here with us, brand new and live to Globex 360 Live TV, just simply put your hand in the air. Let us know you are new to the channel so that we can go ahead and give you that warm Globex 360 welcome. As well, if you have not done so already, go ahead and smash that like button. It is on the bottom left hand side of your screen, as well as the subscribe and notification bell, so you never miss a brand new upload from us right here. Now, we are going to be doing the packages this week, and this is going to be for something most of you have requested, to have these different packages, these different caterings towards your account size. In addition to that, you've all asked for it. It is going to be live today, and that is going to be deposit bonuses, right? I will be explaining this in a lot more detail tomorrow morning in terms of how a deposit bonus works, because I think it's extremely important, because a deposit bonus can help with your equity. So if you're depositing $100 as an example, if you're depositing $1,000, you know, what can that do for you? And what are the options between a deposit bonus or a cashback, right? We've decided to give both options and let you choose what's going to work best for you, for your trading activity, as well as for your future. So I'm going to be breaking that down, as well as what are all the different things that are involved in the different
packages and how can you benefit from that. We have some crazy, amazing stuff that we've been working on for the longest of time. It is happening. It's happening from today. So I'm going to be dropping in some hints. It's going to go live from around about lunchtime, and I will be explaining it in more detail in Dollars for Lunch. That's going to be happening at 4:15 as we trade that New York Stock Exchange. Now, I'm not too worried about time this morning. Being Monday, you guys know how it is. Mondays are generally a little bit quieter. We did see a massive day on the markets on Friday, so we can expect a bit of activity today as markets correct, as markets retrace, but we will deal with that in a second. So let's jump in and let's have a look at the news. We could see that screen was popping up. It was super eager to get in here. So let's go ahead and open up the news and have a look at just at what is happening in the markets, what's planned for the day. We are going to jump in there, and I'm getting, is that a Skype call? Someone's trying to call me on Telegram, imagine, while a person is live. Yeah, not the best of ideas in the world, but in any event, God bless you, we'll work around that. All right, so let's jump into the news. Let's have a look at what we're looking at now. Obviously, I explained that the federal interest rate for the South African Reserve Bank is coming in. There is an expected 75 basis point hike. Now, it's nowhere in the news, and you would expect that to be top of headlines, right? For allowing people to prepare themselves accordingly for what is coming, from just a pure budget perspective. But we really cannot see it anywhere in the news reports this morning, and it should be a headline item. We're not seeing that. So just remember, from Wednesday, interest rate decision is coming in on the South African rand. So again, if you have a variable interest rate on your home loan, on your car, on your credit card, and anything that's a loan debt type environment, that 75 basis point hike will affect you. You will generally see a message from your banks, whether it be ABSA, FNB, whomever it may end up being. Mostly in your app, you'll get a notification that there has been some sort of change, and then you'll generally get a letter, some sort of from the finance house, whether it's on your car, your home. As I've said, you'll get a letter indicating what that could end up being. Now, again, when this first started to happen, people started to panic, right? For a lot of first-time home buyers, first-time car owners, first-time credit card holders, this is something new that they haven't experienced in the last couple of years. Now, this is going to continue happening, right? We're going to see a string of interest rate increases all the way into next year. So please, when you see this interest rate increase, and you might see 300 Rand, 1,000 Rand, 2,000 Rand over and above your current installments, just understand and plan for the future that this is going to continue happening, right? Just so that you understand. And again, there's never been a better time to start diversifying and looking for that extra income elsewhere. So if you're already in the markets, if you're already trading, then you are in the perfect place. I received amazing messages last week. One individual is currently interning as a financial consultant, as a chartered accountant, and he's currently making more per day following Globex 360 live TV events than he does in his day job, right? So definitely the opportunities are there. The risk is real, but if you're looking for to expand your knowledge, if you're looking at expanding your opportunities in the markets, you are in the perfect place. Go ahead and tell somebody, share the love as always, because this is the best place to be right here. US 30 Dow Jones also super excited to get in the action. She's popping up on the screen, wanting a little bit of screen time. We're not quite there yet. We will get there. Now, I have shared the link to this article, right? That's right there, Fed Minutes, Consumer Sentiment. The link is down in the description below, and it will be the news link, right? I think it's the second link. The first link is for the economic calendar. Second link is for this article. And if you go ahead and read in there, extremely interesting. It's going to give you a quick snapshot of what is happening in the world, what's happening in the markets today. And it's just going to give you a general overview of what the week looks like and what people are expecting from the market. So take a few minutes today. It'll take you around about 3 minutes to read through, but I will cover the gist of what is currently happening today. Outside of that, FTX will continue to dominate headlines, as you know, that essentially what's being labeled as fraud is continuing to be sort of unpacked and exposed, where, you know, customer funds were used for tons of transactions, a ton of money is missing. So massive hit to the crypto community. Bitcoin seems to be stabilizing. We will have a look at a crypto analysis in a second, but this will continue to dominate headlines. FTX as an exchange, right, will not only be affected. There's a ripple of effect around about 300 other companies that had some sort of tie into FTX, right? There's been sort of pension funds that have diversified and invested fully into FTX, which seems to be wiped out completely. So we are only yet looking at that scale. That scale is going to continue to increase. We are going to continue to see these items pop up. There's a great episode by a YouTube creator called Cold Fusion on the FTX saga. So if you definitely want to, if that interests you, if you're in the crypto space, definitely go ahead and have a look at this. This is going to set back crypto for potentially 2-3 years, but crypto will come back stronger. So if you've been hesitant in diversifying and getting involved into cryptocurrency, this is one of those times that being late was better, right? Because we have seen a collapse. Now, first to the race, first adopters will always suffer some of the biggest risks. But yes, guys, what about copy trading with Dane? Guys, there's something massive coming on that front. We already have our sister company, which is 360 Capital, that is allowing for copy trade. So again, if you guys want to find out more about that, if you're interested in copy trade, please hit me down below. My direct link for Telegram is there. If you want to be involved a little bit more in copy trade, let me know and we will help you to get set up there. We are looking for that very, very soon. And hopefully in the next 3 weeks, we'll have a big announcement on copy trade. I will be there personally. So all of my trades, I'll be listed as a provider there. If you'd like to follow some of those trades directly, then you are welcome to come ahead and join in on the fun. Disney having a little bit of a fallout here. They had a CEO that was appointed for a total of 3 days and was then removed from his position as the older CEO, Bob Iger, just came in and sort of replaced him. So again, we don't know what he's done or what he's fumbled with, but Disney stock certainly going to be in the spotlights this week as this saga continues. Change of leadership is often sometimes a good thing, but a switch back of leadership can obviously have a little bit of doubt about the fidelity of that particular institution. So there's a bit of news here, but nothing super specific about the markets that we need to worry about for today. Now, as we move on and we have a look at some of those fundamentals, I do want to have a look at the heat map this morning. First, before we get started with the actual fundamental data, and I just want to show you guys across the board, markets had a really nice recovery on Friday, a massive bullish market. This is obviously the S&P 500 heat map, with the exception of Tesla down 1.63%, Amazon down 0.75%, and Google down 0.95%, Nvidia down negative 1.71%. Now, this is obviously significant. Nvidia has just launched their 40 series tier graphics cards. So pretty interesting to see them still trading further lower. But remember, they obviously have competition from Team Red in terms of their new graphics card releases. So if you're into the semiconductor and technology space, definitely might be a hot stock you might want to be looking at in the markets. But overall, very good day across the board looking at that S&P 500. Now, quickly, because we're going to cover a whole week's worth of data, there's not too much happening if we have a look at Monday, right? Almost zero high impact news across the board. If we start to include lesser known currencies, we might find 1 or 2, but nothing in terms of the major miners and some of those exotics. Looking into Tuesday, we do have some retail sales data coming in for Canadian dollar. That's starting at 330. Might be worthwhile trading, and I'm going to read a little bit deeper into this to double check if we are looking at getting in on a bigger show for this data. We will have a look at that and just see, is there a little bit more info we may want to have a look at. But I will advise you guys, and we will obviously look at that one and potentially jump in accordingly on that. So it seems one of our cameras there decided it's going on holiday. But moving on, outside of that core retail sales, for the dollar, we don't have much. We've got some Richmond manufacturing shipments, not going to move the markets at all. So Tuesday, also a quiet day. Moving into Wednesday, we now start to see some good data pouring in. Again, Wednesday is going to be the main day from a fundamental data perspective. New Zealand has the interest rate decision super early in the morning. So for those of you who are night owls, you may want to have a look at this. That is also going up by 75 basis points and will definitely move the New Zealand dollar. South African Rand has some CPI data, even though it's not always super reliable. You guys know that the South African Rand is also called the rattlesnake, and it's called rattlesnake for a reason. Sometimes when we get the data, we tend to see markets not always fully translate that data. We see that data sometimes reverse and bite investors on their fingers right there. But moving away from that into the more volatile items, we've got the euro PMI, Purchasing Manager Index, coming out at 11:30. We got some PMI data for the pound. Looking then into that 3 o'clock time zone, we start to get some of those big movers, right? 3 o'clock on the dot, we get some building permits for the US. 3:30, we start to get durable goods orders. 3:30, initial jobless claims as well. But the big item is coming after home sales, right? So home sales, we're seeing coming at 5 o'clock. But the big item that we're all looking out for is going to be those FOMC minutes, right? Now, the FOMC minutes are major because they're essentially going to highlight what other adjustments has the FOMC made since their last meeting. This is going to give an insight into that December interest rate announcement, right? At the moment, it's expected there's a high likelihood these minutes are going to tell us on Wednesday that the Fed is only going to come in with a 50 basis point hike, right? This will start to show that curbing inflation, and this is definitely what the markets are looking out for, specifically on Wall Street, to start looking for those bigger extensions towards the top side. So those minutes will give us an indication as to what the December meeting will be. But remember, we've got a lot of data between now and that December meeting we still have to process, right? And that data will essentially swing it. But at this point, I'm fairly certain we are going to see a 50 basis point hike instead of that 75. And we will see some good moves on the market. So Wednesday is going to be jam-packed. I will be streaming this meeting live. So those minutes as they come out, I will be streaming that live. We will be trading the markets, and that is going to be a premium plus feature for those of you who have more than $1,000 in your live accounts. Now, I get, I've been having this question substantially over the past week over the different packages, and I will quickly give you guys a glimpse over that. I will explain a little bit more in the Dollars for Lunch how each of these packages work. Tomorrow's Pounds for Breakfast, I'll take 15 minutes out of the show to really break down detail by detail what is happening in these different packages, right? Looking into Thursday, we can see that it's a US holiday, so we're not going to see a bunch of data coming through. We're not going to see a bunch of volatility on Thursday. Fairly quiet data from an economic data perspective. The dollar represents 90% of world trade. So when they're offline, we generally see very, very little volume in the markets. And then looking into Friday, Friday is also Thanksgiving, but we're also going to see Black Friday kicking in. So markets will be open, but there will be early closes across the board, obviously for those Black Friday sales and just, the festive activities to start in the US. So a ton of information, a ton of data coming in on the markets, but really a much quieter week from a fundamental data perspective. So this is a great thing. This leaves us with way more room from a pure price action perspective. And that's where we're going to be focusing this week. So I've got some really interesting analysis that I want to go through with you guys. But first, I just want to take a quick 45-second intermission. Just want to give this camera a quick look and just see what is going on with this one main shooter of mine. And I will be back. So allow me that quick 45 seconds. We're going to do a quick intermission. Maybe grab some coffee. I don't know how fast your kettle is. Grab some coffee, do a little stand, because we are going to dive deep into analysis and you don't want to miss this out. So let's get started and I'll see you guys in 45. Okay, so guys, load shedding is a real thing, right? I'm not even joking. So we've just moved into load shedding, right? Thank you, Eskom. Thank you, whoever's responsible there. That camera, right? It's the third battery it's blown in the last 3 weeks. So when load shedding kicks in and the inverters turns on, for some reason, that camera starts smoking. So I thought, maybe I'm having too good of a morning, but I saw that thing busy misting up and doing its thing. So anyway, we've popped another camera battery. But listen, that's why we come prepared. That's what all the prep is for, to make sure these live broadcasts work as smooth as humanly possible, but still subject to potential trial and error. So there we go. We can say a little prayer for that little camera battery, in a minute. But first, we want to jump straight into analysis. I just want to do a quick shout out and just have a look at the comments really quickly. Let's have a look here. Oh yes, guys, and Trump is 100% running for 2024 presidency. We thought it could be a little bit of a, maybe hearsay type situation, but it's confirmed he is going to be running for president. So for those of you who missed Trump, you might be getting your wish back, right? We might be seeing some craziness and shenanigans. Yes. I also saw that, right? So Trump's Twitter account has been reinstated. Guys, and how crazy is that? We were speaking about this over the last week or two, how we missed Trump's tweets, right? So if you're part and parcel of that, I'm jumping off Facebook. I'm pretty much getting rid of my Facebook. I've got pages there with 50,000, 60, 80,000 people. I'm deleting Facebook. So if you see me on Facebook from a page perspective, just know that's not my account. I'm jumping straight on Twitter. With the work that Elon's doing and Trump coming back, there's a million reasons why you need to be on Twitter. So yeah, that's me. If you want to join me, let me know. I will be putting our official Globex 360 live TV Twitter handles there, as well as my personal one, and we can have a ton of fun there. We can chat there in the live shows. I'll bring in the tweets directly into the show, just like we do our chats. As well as that, our Globex 360 live TV account has just been recognized as a YouTube partner, meaning we're allowed to do some really amazing things. But before we even talk about that, just a massive thank you to every single one of you that have been in our live broadcast, who've hit that subscribe button, who've hit that like button. You've allowed us to be eligible for partnership with YouTube, which we've now received and obtained. That means we can really do some special stuff, right? So we're going to allow memberships within our Globex 360 live TV channel. And this is going to be behind the scenes stuff. It's going to be all the bloopers. It's going to be some of the mistakes. It's going to be some of the insights. It's going to be members only areas. So if you'd like to subscribe for that, obviously stay tuned. We will tell you how that access is going to work, but it'll be a members only area. It'll also give you a special badge. It'll give you a special icon. So remember, we were speaking about MVTs, most valued traders. You guys will be included there. And that means when you chat, we can see, okay, Fabian is a member, Aslam is a member, so on and so forth. Helps me just to see your chats and answer your questions a little bit quicker. Let's just have a look here. Watching from Gaborone, amazing guys. Let me know where in the world you're joining us from, please. Super important. Really love to hear that. Happy birthday, Colin. I believe it's Colin's birthday. I'm not 100% sure if this is factual or not. I'm just seeing a bunch of birthday wishes there. Yeah, and as Fabian says, don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button. Let us know where you're joining us from. I can see Port Elizabeth in the house, Cape Town, Bloemfontein in the house, all the way from Kuruman. I do need to visit Kuruman again. Aslam saying Shelley Beach, beautiful stuff. Venda, Cape Town, Swaziland, right there. Pretoria is in the house. Soweto is in the house. Beautiful stuff, guys. Listen, I will be announcing tour dates. I'm just looking at schedules and logistics, but I will be doing quite a bit of traveling as we look into December and January, because I do want to get around to all the major cities and spend some time with you guys, right? We can have, conferences. It's not about gathering people, but it's more about spending time with every single one of you. And we will do some one-on-one sessions. We'll be in the different areas. I know I already have invites to be with Joseph. I believe that is Joseph, where we are doing Kuruman. I know definitely we're doing some time there with Aslam. His new office set up there, so we're going to be able to facilitate a bunch of you. Definitely Durban, definitely Cape Town, obviously definitely Johannesburg. So we will be announcing those tour dates, and you'll see some of your favorite faces from the office that will be with me, part and parcel of that as well. So yeah, definitely keep us posted. And when we see the comments about where you guys are from, it's not just me asking where you're from. I know where most of you are from, but we go through those comments and we say, okay, we have a bunch of clients in this area. Let's make an effort to be there, right? There we go. Katlejo Nasdaq in the building. Well done. Welcome. Let's see, Western Cape. Beautiful. Guys, let's jump into the markets. Let's have a look at what is happening in the markets. But first, right, I said I will drop some hints as to what will be happening. Let me just give you guys a tiny glimpse, right? It will be live later today. I will explain it fully in dollars for lunch, and then pounds for breakfast tomorrow. I'll take out a good 15 minutes to show you everything that is included here. But I just want to go ahead and share this because I think it's been a hot topic over the past bit. As I've said, when you guys ask for something, we really go out of our way to work and make sure that we can deliver, right? So when a request is made, as small as it is, even if it is the smallest comment in the chat, I can promise you the Globex 360 team is watching that chat. When you guys ask for something, we listen. We look at the viability, we see how we can make that happen. So again, your comments, your feedback, again, this channel built for traders, by traders, for you guys, for every single one of you guys. We want to build one of the biggest trading communities in Africa, in the world. And for every single one of you that are here right now, this is what this is all about. So this will be launching a little bit later on. I'm not going to dive too deep into it, but ultimately we are launching 4 different account types with different features associated with each. Now, with all of the account types, you're going to have an opportunity over whether you're looking for a cashback type account or a bonus account. So again, we've received an overwhelming request for deposit bonuses. We're starting off the season, we're kicking things off not with 5%, not with 10%, not with 20%, but we're going straight to 50%. So if you choose a bonus account, right, it means that you will not get cash back per trade traded, right? So for those of you looking for bonuses, for those of you who aren't interested in bonuses, we already have enough equity and you're looking to earn cash back for every trade that you place, you can have a cash back type account. So there's 4 account types, but ultimately there's 8 in total because you have a cashback or a bonus of each. I just want to show you guys this really quickly. So standard accounts are under $100. You're still going to get amazing low spreads, trading opportunities, markets reports, and trades of the day, as well as pounds for breakfast. So that's pretty much free, right? Those items. Now, premium, we have from $100 to $1,000. And in addition to pounds for breakfast, you're going to be getting an option of a bonus or a cashback. You're going to have dollars for lunch, the Globex 360 Academy, which I know you guys are super, super excited for, as well as volatility analysis. Now, trade of the day is really, really cool stuff. That's where we look for market structures and opportunities that you guys can definitely benefit from. A really well laid out stop losses, take profits, market structures, really, really, really cool stuff. And I will show you examples of all of them. And it's going to come directly into Telegram. It's going to come directly into inbox. And ultimately, we're going to allow a feature where on that trade, you can literally click and it will literally take you directly to our brand new trading platform that is behind me, where you can physically execute that trade. So just really, really crazy stuff overall. But looking at Premium Plus, right, you're going to get all of the above, plus an our favorites, right, which is all of the favorite trading opportunities that we have found, right? Meaning when we see market opportunities, not just one of the day, but all of our favorites, right? And these are high likelihood opportunities, 70% plus likelihoods that we're going to see these trades materialize. So it's going to be every single day we'll have our favorite positions in the same beautiful format and structure that is obviously given to you, as well as correlating alerts. So this will mean as markets change and as we see news information come in, when we start to see dollar moving, we can then obviously send out some correlation alerts that you are having opportunities on all different types of instruments, as well as being a pure ECN account. Then again, private wealth, because we've had an overwhelming request for clients with a higher deposit amount to obviously be part and parcel. It has all of the above, but then it really gets crazy, right? So we're able to do special offers, customized accounts, meaning we will look at every client individually. No one account will be the same. Access to a trading room, which is super, super exciting stuff. We're busy currently building a state-of-the-art trading room, right? And this means it's a platform where we as traders can talk about markets, can post our trades, can vote on trades, can get expert analysis and opinions, and communicate and essentially have a community-based approach. Telegram is great. Our website is state-of-the-art, but we need a place as traders outside of live TV to just be able to post what we're thinking, help each other, and talk about the markets. As things pop up, we obviously want to be able to talk about that. So that is where that will end up happening. It's currently under development. It's going to be massive. Priority withdrawals, meaning when you withdraw a deposit, your account is seen a little bit differently, and we will obviously push that directly to you, as well as exclusive private wealth events. And this is where I want to start to get together with people on a more often and more regular basis. It might be a dinner where it's other likewise like-minded individuals, and we can network, we can talk about markets, we can essentially, cater and build products that suit what it is that you're looking for, as well as you get the inside scoop from everything that is coming and under development. The team is busy with some really exciting things, and this just gets you active and involved in all of these spaces. So again, as I've said, all of these account types are available as a cashback or a bonus. And I do want to spend some more time speaking about the bonus, and I will break this down so that you understand how a bonus is used, what are the pros and what are the cons of a bonus, right? Because again, you need to understand, is it used for equity? Can you withdraw it? Can you not withdraw it? Can you use it to trade into a negative? Yes or no? And these will be the things that I will break down for you so you understand each of the pros and these different cons. But again, this is going to be launching over the course of today. The deposit bonuses will be live as well, I believe, today. And yes, we are currently just waiting on that launch date and time for our new platform. We've done some amazing things here. We've fixed a ton of items. And guys, I can tell you one thing without a shadow of a doubt, there is only one place to trade, and that is right here with our brand new trading platform. Now, listen, we have not given it an official name, right? We're waiting for a name in order to launch. So this is what I'd like to do, right? I'm looking for a name from you guys. I've got my suggestions. The team's got their suggestions. The team has already voted on a name that they want, but I want to open this up to you guys as our traders, right? As our community, as our clients. What would you call our brand new trading platform, right? Some of you have played in it. Some of you have experienced it. Some of you have seen the amazing and powerful things that are involved there. We've done some crazy things with the software. I'd like to know what would be your suggestion from a naming perspective. What would you call it, right? And I'd like to, get the top couple suggestions. And I'd like to know from you, what would it be that you call it, and what would it be that you name it, right? Whoever we pick, maybe as the top 3, we'll announce what that'll end up being, but we'll do something special as always. We'll either do a credit towards your live account, or we'll invite you to our next private wealth event. We'll find out something that goes a further distance for every single one of you guys. So go ahead and pop in those comments. I will go through the show afterwards and pull out some of those comments. I can see Commander Online has subscribed to the Globus 360 live TV session. So just welcome to the family. If you haven't yet subscribed, go ahead and do so that you're locked in and locked down with every single one of us. Now, whilst MetaTrader is still a thing, we are going to just continue some of that analysis in our MetaTrader environment, but we are now going to move into our FX analysis side of the broadcast. So let's open it up. We're going to start off on the FX side. As always, we're going to start off that dollar index and just have a look at what is cooking on that dollar and where we have potential opportunities in the markets today as well as this week. Now remember, because it's Monday, we're spending a little bit more time in the markets, a little bit of a longer broadcast. We're not in a rush here because obviously we have a little bit more time. Market's going to be a little bit slower. So again, dollar index, we've been speaking about this over a period of time. We were reaching a triple top situation over the course of last week. We started to get that breakdown, and then we got a massive amount of bull volume on the dollar that came in on Friday, right? Friday, the dollar has dominated the markets, pushed past that triple top we originally had last week, but now the dollar is floating in that new territory, right? Dollar is definitely looking like it's looking to make some sort of retracement off of some of that massive negatives, some of those hits that the dollar had taken on the 10th. And I remember, if we have a look at the 10th, if you guys remember exactly what that was that CPI event, that CPI data that we dominated live in our event, live in our live broadcast, where we essentially shorted the dollar. We went long on indices across the board. So dollar is still attempting to recover there, and I do suspect we are now in a formal form of correction or retracement. So if we have a look there, you can see that triple top correlated not 100% with a 38.2, but where we are currently sitting, we are sitting at 38.2% of that impulse to the downside. We are currently sitting there from a retracement perspective. Now, looking a little bit closer into that specific market structure, I do suspect we will potentially, looking at this weaker day, we may make a retracement down to give us some sort of support level. We don't have a ton of support, diagonal support here. We've got a flat support here. So I do think we could see the dollar come off some of these highs this morning, and we essentially start to retrace. So I would be looking, if you're looking at scalping this morning, you want to put some time in the markets, I would expect a little bit of dollar weakness. So something like Euro USD, shorter buy positions, something like gold, looking for a little bit of long positions. Indices even may utilize that temporary dollar weakness for some sort of rally. So for those of you who are scalping, I'm currently looking at this on a 15-minute time frame. Realistically, we could expect, potentially maybe an hour or 2 or 3 of that little bit of that weaker dollar market coming in. So you may want to look for scalping opportunities in that space. Looking at the EURUSD and specifically sticking to the topic of scalping a market, we can currently see that EURUSD has actually broken that structure from that dollar strength. Dollar strength came in, EURUSD started that fall off, and we are now at a known support / resistance level, currently acting as support, but previously well understood as a resistance level. Now, just going a little bit further back, because I just want to show you guys this really quickly. If we have a look at this whole section of this market here, right, this whole section over here, we can see that we had a very, very solid level of support / resistance, and that correlates exactly with where we are now based on that 78.6 fib level, right? If we look at where we are now, that's where we're currently sitting. And I think it's important to potentially understand and look at, will we start to see EURUSD slow off on that little bit of a downside move? Now, we don't have a perfect price action situation here. I would like to see this little bit of a retracement be a little bit straighter. And if I go down to a 15-minute, you're going to see what it is that I mean. So I would like to see that a little bit straighter. We can almost identify it as a scallop, right? But we would have liked to have seen this really move with price action in a solid level and a solid structure. Charlie's asking, why do we trade like trading on a smaller time frame? So it purely comes down to what I was saying yesterday, that a swing trade, right, always ultimately comes from the same point, right? So whether it's a swing, whether it's a day, or whether it's a scalp, it all starts from a point, right? Now, if you're able to catch a scalp as a breakout in a certain direction, have a look as an example, right, at our EURUSD buy. Have a look at our EURUSD buy from last week or 2 weeks ago, right? We caught a buy on EURUSD off of that CPI data, right? That was a scalp that has turned into a swing trade, right? This is a different account that I'm currently using, but ultimately that trade is still running 300-400 pips in profit. So if you have a look at a market structure, for a scalp, for a small market to break out, that could then break out and move to be held as a day trade. That breakout may have been long-term, and that scalp can turn into a swing trade. So again, time frames are about perspective, right? If you're looking at something on a daily time frame, right, you might see a bottom of a market on a daily, but the reality is on a daily, if you have a retest of that support, let's say markets are moving down, markets are testing a support level, it doesn't necessarily mean that markets are going to bounce off that level within that trading day. That ultimately means that you might hold a loss for 2 or 3 days. In addition to that, it also means that the account size you need to sustain a move into support needs to be larger, right? Whereas scalp or a smaller position, if we're looking at example EURUSD in front of us, right? If we're looking at EURUSD just from a scalping perspective, our stop loss is basically at the next level of resistance. But let's have a look at it on a daily time frame, and I'm going to show you something completely different. Just waiting for MetaTrader just to wake up there, because I only have one candle. There we go. Okay. If we have a look at it from a scalping perspective, right? This is on a daily time frame. In order to continue, right, some sort of buy or sell, there's our next level of support from a daily perspective, right? So our stop loss wouldn't just be 70 or 80 pips. Our stop loss would need to be below this level from a buy perspective. So we would need to then have a 200-300 pip stop loss. So again, it's far better to get in an early entry and essentially be right or wrong immediately than it would be to hold a loss over multiple days, right? So that is obviously something you can obviously understand a little bit deeper. In addition to that, again, this comes down to account size. And this is why we've created Premium Plus and Private Wealth, is that a Premium Plus and Private Wealth account would hold and be able to trade a different type of trade than an account of $20, right? An account of $20 is very little you can trade, where, you start to move into the $100 territory, you're now playing. You can now afford to have risk management, right? Because again, this all comes down to risk management. Taking a daily trade requires a bigger stop loss. Percentage of your account still needs to be under 3 or 4%, right? So if you're looking at a 200 pip stop on a Forex entity and you're trading a single lot, $10 per pip, that's a $2,000 stop loss. To be less than 3% of your account, you can do the math. We're talking about quite a big account size, right? You need to have a substantial account size, $100,000 plus, to trade a standard lot on a daily time frame in EURUSD to maintain risk management. A lot of people will trade bigger time frames with tiny accounts and realize why they're not getting to the end of that quarter, that end of that month in profit, because your risk is always being exceeded based on your risk management profile. So that makes sense. It should start to sink in. It's something we do cover quite deeply in the academy itself. So definitely you want to pay attention for that to be able to capitalize and be a part of that. But again, that's why the different account sizes have been set up. So we can send and talk about trade opportunities based on what that account size should be able to take. Again, because I love the markets, because at Globex 360 we thrive on integrity and transparency, it would not be wise and in line with those morals to be, using a $200,000 account to take trades, and you guys are following on $100 or $1,000 as an example. You'll take that trade. I can afford a much deeper stop loss. My equity can afford a much bigger swing. Your trade gets stopped out. So when we trade live in the different sessions, it'll be in relation to what you can afford. And again, that's the difference between what we do here. You'll see there's a lot of signal providers, and I'm going to touch on this, and I know it's a very sensitive, right? Very sensitive topic. You're going to see a lot of signal providers, these Instagram people, whatever, they're going to say, buy something now. Send a signal, no stop loss or whatever. Or even you see the stop loss is 2,000 pips difference, right? You try to take the same trade, your account blows before it even gets to stop loss, or there's no stop loss involved. They send a screenshot 3 days later, they're in profit, huge profits, but you see markets press down. But you find out either they're trading on a demo account, or B, that they had no stop loss. Their account could afford to take, a 2,000-3,000 pip negative, where your account could not. Again, that's the difference between sending a signal and trading live. Trading live means I'm explaining the process of a why, and when I place a trade, why I'm placing that trade. That's the value proposition right here at Globex 360 Live TV that you cannot get anywhere else in the world. And if you can, do let me know. I'd love to know, because I promise you, I've been searching for 6-7 years to find this exact thing. And when realizing there's nothing out there, I found an amazing team in Globex 360 that had the same vision. And we said, guys, let's create this. Let's create what traders really want and need, right? So most of you guys have experienced it. There's a reason and for that. But anyway, thank you for the question. It needs a bit more time to explain, but that's what the different sessions are for. So looking at it, if you would like to capitalize on that potential dollar weakness over the course of the next little bit here, you might want to look at taking advantage on your USD 15 minutes. You may want to look out for that breakout. The breakout will be much clearer, obviously, as you go closer and closer into that data. 5 minutes will give you perfect price action, right? Perfect price action to look for potential breakouts. Remember, price has to clear resistance number 2, which is not only the diagonal, but the last level resistance, to start making those higher highs and higher lows to be considered a legitimate breakout this morning. Okay, moving on to USD ZAR, because this is going to be a pretty hot topic. We have that CPI data coming out on the South African Rand. We have that interest rate announcement also on the South African Rand. And this is most certainly going to affect and or move markets. So last week, we looked at a buy opportunity on that breakout, and some of you guys caught that buy based on the analysis. But ultimately, if we have a look at where we are currently sitting, South African Rand tested that low, failed below that low, created a little bit of a bear trap, but ultimately right now is going back into a bull state of market, right? So now again, this price action formation is a precursor for a continued break towards the downside. So I just want to point that out, right? When we see prices range in this manner, we often see a next extension towards the downside. So again, if we see any weakness on the South African Rand, that could be the tipping point to break this. And because we've already seen a bear trap here, right, of people, potentially following a short position based on the break of support, right, and then getting back into structure, a move past this area again would be a much more sustained move towards the downside. So South African Rand currently looking at a 15-minute time frame. You understand the bigger time frames, what's happening. We do trade bigger time frames. As you guys know, we've traded some of our most successful trades on bigger time frames, right? 2020 is where I called out, so 2021, early 2021, we called out this market bottom on support. And for those of you who know us and for those of you who followed, we caught some massive buys early 2021. And for those who've been following me for a while, 2018 is where we caught that absolute market bottom at 16 Rand 60 cents for that massive bull run that also capitalized and played in our favor when coronavirus obviously kicked in. So bigger time frames are something that we do, but you need to have not only the account size, but the internal psychology and strength and potentially maybe even experience in order to handle that longer term. So USDZAR this morning, we will obviously look at how the dollar materializes and what ends up coming of that. But ultimately, I just want you guys to be aware of that particular move there. Any downside break may be a chase towards a sell and a bias towards a sell market this morning. Now, moving in and just having a quick look at GBP/JPY as well as Euro GBP. Just a quick on GBP/JPY is that GBP/JPY is currently obviously broken out of this little bit of a bear structure, but we aren't getting a very clear-cut support here. It may very well be something like that. And again, we're ranging as opposed to breaking out, right? This is not a move where we're used to a GBP/JPY. GBP/JPY breaks, as an example, the GBP/JPY breaks, we generally see it start to run and build momentum in that direction. We're not seeing that with this particular breakout. So I'm a little bit cautious. And again, this is just going to come down to politics, right? And where the economies are currently sitting with interest rates, inflation. There's no safe bet at this point in time, right? Even the dollar is not safe. So across the major currencies, if you look at the pound, if you look at the euro, if you look at the dollar, even if you look at the yen, there's no place that is safe across the board. So GBP/JPY currently ranging, technically a bull breakout, but not showing us the characteristics we'd like to see from a very strong bull breakout. So I'm not too interested in that. Euro GBP, on the other hand, is a little bit more of an interesting case. Euro GBP created a little bit of a bear trap last week. I said I wasn't going to trade that sell, right? I wasn't confident in that being a continuation. Pulled back, retested, failed. So exactly what I was saying a little bit earlier about South African Rand. South African Rand made a similar bear trap, came back, broke that back down, and then made that continuation, right? Just quickly having a look at USDZAR, you can see the same thing. Bear trap, pushing back up. If we break again, it'll follow a very similar market structure to Euro GBP. We want to continue that sell side momentum. Now, Euro GBP, just having a look on a 4-hour, we'll start to see we're going to have some support south of our current position, but we're still quite a way away from reaching that support. So Euro GBP has some fuel in the tank, but I think only about 30-40 pips to the downside. And then I think the bigger trade here is going to be along a little bit later on, right? So again, we're not yet making lower lows. And as long as we're not making lower lows and we have these higher highs, with the exception of this chaos that we ended up seeing the last week in September, we could expect some buy opportunities off of that support region. And it's just lower than where we're currently sitting. So we're about 34 pips, 35 pips max from looking at that buy opportunity. That buy opportunity is also going to correlate with our Fibonacci, and that's going to be that 78.6. So I'm looking at a buy opportunity. If I have to map it out perfectly, that buy opportunity is going to be on €1 purchasing £0, 86 cents and 37 pips. So 0.8637, €1 buying £0, 86 cents, 37 pips, right? That's where we're going to start to look for some of those long positions. Now, moving in and moving a little bit closer into, let's have a look. Let's jump into our indices this morning because that's what everybody's wanting to have a look at. We had a very chaotic week across the board last week. We're currently looking at US 30. Now, I'm only going to be looking at US 30 from an analysis perspective. If you go ahead and you have a look at NASDAQ, you have a look at German 30, you have a look at some of the other instruments, they're going to follow a very, very similar trajectory. So instead of breaking them down one by one, you can kind of apply this across the board as a blanket approach. So currently looking at a 30-minute time frame, I just want to point this out because I think it's going to be important. We could probably do an hour. It'll also look just fine. So if we have a look at US30 without going to the whole history. We've obviously discussed that in previous sessions. But if we have a look at just this bull market that we've had pretty much since start of October, this bull momentum we've had, we've at times broken down below. An example of that will be on the 10th this month. So around about a week and a half ago, we had a temporary pause, a temporary position down here below. And this is where we obviously traded that CPI data, right? We had a massive buy towards the top side, massive impulse to the top side. And this is where we obviously caught that move. But outside of that move, we very rarely ever sat below this support perspective for all too long. Even if we adjust to include that area, let's do that maybe. Let's adjust to include that support. And I think that's fine. That's good. This brings up a more interesting discussion in the sense that we started that push back into that area on Thursday. I just want to bring up the dates quickly. Yes. Okay. So Thursday, late in the evening, late in the afternoon, we started that push back on US30 back into the structure. Now, depending whether you see, this support being there or you see it above, it's completely up to you and it's about perspective. But regardless, you just need to know that we are currently in some sort of zone here. Now, this zone is pretty much going to be what I see us utilizing for the week when it comes to US30, otherwise known as Dow Jones. But ultimately, a breakdown here could send us into a continuation of a short. We could see a continued short towards the downside. Last week on Wednesday, actually it was Thursday. Last week, Thursday, if you guys remember, we were looking for those buy opportunities on that breakout, right? Thursday, we ended up continuing that buy movement towards top side. For those of you who held it, you should be smiling. But ultimately, where we're currently sitting now, we could see markets return and retrace back to the downside of this channel, right? Now, again, we have a little bit more data available to us, and this channel could potentially be extended somewhere into that region there. So essentially, all you have to do for this one is we just have to keep our eyes out in terms of mapping this structure. Map it out something like that. Yeah. So all we need to do is essentially on 30 minutes, just map out the structure, take heed of some of these exceptions to the top side. There is no clear-cut resistance here. The clear-cut support is going to be pretty much the 10th, the 11th, and again, this is over a 30-minute time frame, as well as the 17th. That'll give you support. Use a parallel channel to understand where your resistance could be, and it can be anywhere in this level. And if you have a look at where we are now, we sit in a pretty interesting situation on US30, where we're either going to go back into structure and continue, or we're going to fail to essentially get back through this resistance level, causing a little bit of a sell-off. So this will give us a better indication. This is why we talk about smaller time frames, because have a look at what's happening. On a 1 minute time frame, you can see very clear cut what is happening with the price of US30. Now, a potential breakout here could allow us to capitalize, right, on that move, and that could be then move into a day trade, a swing trade, so on and so forth. So looking at this, right, a breakthrough resistance, a breakthrough the 500 period moving average, which works very well in a trending market, as well as resistance, could lead into a long-term buy for us currently on US30. So there is a lot of opportunity available to us, and I think there's going to continue to be a lot of opportunity this morning, specifically and having a look at what we could end up seeing on the US30 today, right? So I think that's going to be pretty exciting and something we're definitely going to continue to watch out for. We're going to move away, and obviously NASDAQ will apply a very similar type of understanding, but having a look quickly at some of the commodities really quickly as we wrap up, we're going to start off by having a look at where current price of gold is in relation to the rest of the market. Now, last week we saw the start of that breakout on gold. We saw that we obviously needed to get through support. We got through support, which was at 50 fib. We've made a little bit of a pullback, and now we failed on the price of gold. Now, this is primarily driven right here by that dollar strength, right? So if we see any sort of movement on the dollar, right, and this is going to be key for this week's trading, because we don't have a lot of fundamental data that's going to drive the strength of the dollar. This week, we have very little earnings reports. So the third quarter earnings reports are wrapping up. We're sitting with 4 companies that are in the S&P 500 that are giving earnings this week, none of which are substantial companies. So we don't have a lot of external data that's going to drive the dollar. Again, as I've said, we obviously have a big day from a fundamental data perspective later on in the week. But leading up to that, what the dollar does this week is going to determine the state and the tone for Thursday, for Friday, as well as into Monday and Tuesday next week. So that's what we're looking for this week. Again, commodities on a brilliant position for potential breakout. Euro USD is in a great position. If we look at ZAR, if we look at commodities, if we look at indices, across the board, markets are pretty much hinged and dependent on the dollar. Everything I'm seeing this morning tells me there's no other dominating factor outside of the dollar, right? This movement that we're seeing, that strength that we saw is purely dollar driven. Now, the only correlation that you might wonder and that you might wonder about is going to be the fact of why did USD rally when the dollar is so strong? The keen eye amongst you has not yet caught this one up. Nobody has asked, but why is the USD so high while the dollar is picking up value? And that's going to be the question for this morning that I'd like you guys to go and look into. I'm not going to give you that answer almost immediately. But if you've noticed that, you'll notice correlations are perfect across the board with the exception of the US30, right? So I want you to go ahead and investigate that. It might be midterms. It might be Republicans versus Democrats. But again, I'm going to leave that up to you to go ahead and research and have a look what that is all about. I will be speaking about that specifically in Dollars for Lunch and what that metric is and how does it break? How do we go back into correlation? Because if that metric breaks, we're going to see the US30, stock markets, Wall Street as a whole fully realize what is coming out from a directional perspective. And remember that Federal Reserve FOMC meeting minutes, when that comes out, if there's indication on those minutes that we are going to see a slowdown from an interest rate perspective, we are going to see massive buy opportunities on Wall Street. Again, if the minutes come out and say that, hey, there's a highly likely reasoning that they could continue to see 75 basis points, markets are used to that. I don't think we're going to see as sharp of a fall as we have seen in the past. Markets now are used to these interest rates. Investors are used to the fact that, you know, there's a far way to go to get to where they need to be from an interest rate perspective to curb inflation. I don't think negative data or negative information anymore is going to affect the markets. I think the markets are used to that. I think the markets are looking and stuttering for a glimmer of hope. If we see that hope in the minutes, we're going to see some big rallies. And remember, I will be trading that live. Today is about recapping the markets, looking at the week. This afternoon, we trade the New York Stock Exchange open. That's going to be live. I'm going to place some trades there. We're going to have some fun. You want to be a part of that. You need to have a minimum of $100 balance in your live account, right? Balance of more than $100. You will receive access to that link in your client area, as well as all the other shows we're going to be having, those premium plus shows. You are going to need to have more than $1,000 in your live accounts. We will be announcing some of the private wealth sessions that are going to be coming out. That's going to be much smaller groups of individuals. We're going to limit it to one-on-ones and smaller groups of potentially 3 total. And I will be announcing what will be happening there. So yeah, because it's a free live broadcast, I don't take requests on analysis. If you want to get your requests in, please attend our premium and premium plus shows. This is where I have a bit more time with you. But this is with everybody as a whole. We have some people here who don't have Globex 360 live accounts, but yet you're going to benefit from Globex 360 live TV. You want to be part of those benefits. You want to be part of capitalizing on that with one of the longest established, fully regulated, proudly South African brokers. Then again, you want to open up that live account. The link is down in the description below. Open up Fika Fund. It can take you a total of 15 minutes, and then you're with the best broker, if not arguably South Africa, but certainly Africa, and hopefully very soon the world. So that's where we want to be. That's where we aim to be. And our new trading platform is taking things from level to level. So guys, that's all for me this morning. I will see you all. For those of you who have your $100 live accounts, balance more than $100. I'll see you guys Dollars for Lunch, 3:15 today. It's going to be big. It's going to be massive. We're going to focus on price action this week. We're going to focus on new opportunities. All the new technology we've implemented over the past couple months, you're going to start to see. We're going to be sending out links for the premium groups, links for the premium plus groups, as well as links for the private wealth groups. So depending on your account size, by the end of today, we'll be sending out those links. Our system will proactively look at your account, and if you do a deposit, we'll give you the link accordingly for that particular group. So if you want to be part and parcel of that, obviously get yourself funded so that you don't miss out. In those groups, we'll have time to chat, but all of these amazing features will be sent into those groups. So those of you who've been wanting quote unquote signals, we're taking signals and making them redundant. We're taking market opportunities to a whole new level, and you want to be a part of that. And that's going to all be happening in our new groups. But if you are just new with us and you are just watching, you are welcome to go create a demo account. It costs you absolutely nothing. To actually open an account costs you nothing. To be with us in Globex Live TV costs you nothing. To be part of the Academy costs you nothing. It's simply part of the package in terms of having a live account. But if you want a demo account, go and select open an account, select demo, and then you can go ahead and have some demo money and come and participate with us. Obviously not in part of Premium Plus, Premium Old, Private Wealth, etc. But you can come and have a look and participate regardless. Guys, outside of that, listen, I hope you guys have an amazing day. I will see most of you all a little bit later. And until then, you guys know the drill. Be safe. As always, trade safe. And just remember to do things the Globex 360 way. Until I see you guys a little bit later, have an amazing day. Goodbye.